you have a new availability update. Then I would be ready to get to work with coordinating this candidate with a client. It is well recognised that coordinating with candidates to confirm their availability can be a very time-consuming task for recruitment consultants. So this is an email hack I believe every recruitment consultant should have. Firstly, check our emails for any availability related emails. Secondly, automatically place them into an availability folder so we have one go-to place within our inbox. And finally, notify us as soon as this happens for us to get to work as soon as possible. So here we are in make.com and I've clicked to create a new scenario. Over here you can see I've labelled this availability alert system. So to start our scenario, we'll click the plus icon. And we are going to start this scenario with an email trigger. So if we search email, we can click email, and the trigger is going to be watch emails. Triggers when a new email is received for processing according to specified criteria. So we'll click this one. As you can see here, my Gmail is already automatically connected. If yours isn't, you would simply just need to set this up. The folder in which we want this trigger to watch our emails is simply going to be our inbox, because initially that is where the email will land. So click here to choose folder. The folder is simply going to be inbox. Click inbox. The criteria is going to be all emails. We can leave the sender email address blank, the recipient email address blank, the subject blank, but here we will add in a phrase. Now, the phrase is going to dictate within this trigger what emails it is actually searching for. So it's most likely that if someone has sent you an email regarding their upcoming availability, that it will include the word availability. And therefore we can get this trigger to specifically look for those emails that include the word availability. So we'll type availability. We'll leave mark messages as read when fetched as no. And for this example, we'll set the maximum number of results as 1 and hit save. When it comes to choose where to start, we will select the email. So as you can see here, it has pulled the test email I have sent myself for this example, in which I included the word availability. So we'll start with this email. Hit save. And before we move any further, I just want to draw your attention to this clock icon here. This is where we can schedule this scenario to run. So we could schedule it to run every 15 minutes. We could schedule it to run on certain days of the week, certain days of the month, every day at certain times. The possibilities are pretty much endless. We'll leave it as it is now for this example. The next module in our scenario is actually going to be a ChatGPT module. So here we are, OpenAI ChatGPT. If this didn't pop up automatically, we could just search it in this search bar here. So we'll click on that. And the action is going to be create a completion. As you can see here, my OpenAI account is already connected. Of course, if yours wasn't, you would have to set that up before moving any further. So select method, we can leave as it is. For model, I'm going to use ChatGPT 4o Mini, as it is one of the cheapest and fastest models, and considering the complexity of our task is not very much, it should be able to complete it with no problem. And now we have some more information to fill out, which is red at the moment as these cannot be empty. So the role is going to be developer/system, and the text context is going to be, you are a helpful and very intelligent administrative assistant. Then we're going to add another message. For the second message, the role will be user, and the text context will be, your task is to categorize incoming email into the following labels: availability and other. Please ensure your output is structured in the following format, and it will simply just be the label. So either availability or other. Because for us in this example, we only want availability emails isolated in one place. Everything else will be classed as other and will just be all other emails. So that's our text context. We can leave image input type. And now we'll add a third and final message. The role will be user, and the text context we will take from the email that we pulled in the previous module. and that is going to be text context. So it's effectively taking that email, the one that we selected previously, and it will decide whether or not it is an availability related email and therefore needs to be labelled with availability, or an other email and therefore be labelled with other and go with all our other emails in our inbox. So before we move any further, I will just go back a step and test to make sure that it can pull the email that we want it to pull. And as you can see here, that test works successfully. Here is the email that I sent it for this test. Hi Mia, here is my upcoming availability for blah blah blah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Perfect. Now going back into our OpenAI module, I have just reselected the text content within our third message to ensure that it is in fact pulling that specific email when we run the final test. Once again, we can leave image input type and we'll leave predicted outputs and max completion tokens as it is and hit save. Before we move any further, I will test this module only, our new OpenAI module. That of course involves ChatGPT. So if I click on it, I can click run this module only, click OK. Originally it showed up with an error because I didn't actually give it any text context to go off, so I will just put hey Mia, here is my availability for this week, obviously including our keyword here, availability. Click OK, and as you can see that test successfully worked. This is the input and the output result is availability. It knows that if it received an email like that, it would label it with availability. Now we can move on to our next step within our scenario and add another module. So now that ChatGPT has been able to successfully label emails that include the word availability with the label availability, and therefore the emails that don't include that word simply go into an other category, we now want it to automatically move into that specific folder within our email account. So if we click on email, we can hit move an email. As you can see, my Gmail account is already connected. The source folder, aka where it will be found, will be my inbox, as that's where it will land initially. Click inbox. But the destination folder is going to be availability. So as I said, if you are a recruitment consultant and your emails are jam-packed as it is, you don't want to be going into your inbox, flicking through all the emails, getting distracted by all the other emails in your inbox, trying to find those specifically related to candidates' availability. This way it's all put in one place, so you can skip your inbox and just head to this specific folder. So the folder is called availability. And in order for me to select that as a folder within my Gmail account, I previously set it up and created a new folder called availability within my Gmail account. So if you were using this automation for yourself, you would need to have done that. The email ID, we will do something here called mapping, where as we have pulled data from previous modules, we will be able to select the email ID from our first module. So as you see, when you hover around here, the module is actually moving and highlighting itself here. So if we scroll down, we can find the email ID and then hit save. So before I add the fourth and final module, I want to test to make sure that this works successfully. So I'm going to hold down on our first module, choose where to start, select the first email, click our test email, click save, and then click run once. So the test has run successfully with no errors. I'm now going to head to my email to see if that email has landed in that specific folder. And as you can see here, here is the test email. Hi Mia, here is my upcoming availability, ... Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This has automatically been put in the availability folder within my emails. So now we know it works, we can head back to make. And as I said, I'm going to add the fourth and final module. So when this automation runs automatically at the scheduled intervals that we have specified, we won't know that any of this is happening unless we add in a way to be notified at the end of the automation. As I said at the beginning of the video, efficient scheduling is crucial to avoid delays. So if you are notified, you can act as soon as you see that notification. So the way I'm going to do this is by adding another module. Now there are many ways you could be notified, as Make.com integrates with many different apps, but for this example, I'm going to use Slack. So if I search Slack, click Slack, then click create a message. Now we need to fill out some information. As you can see, my Slack is already automatically connected. If you also wanted to use Slack, you would simply need to add your own account. Enter a channel ID or name. I'm going to select from the list. The channel type is private channel. The private channel is availability alerts. So I've already created this channel within my Slack that has allowed me to select it from these options. And the message can simply be, you have a new availability update. That's all we need to know. We can make it as complex or as simple as we like, but all we need to know is that someone new has provided their availability and is landed in our availability folder within our inbox. So we'll leave that as that, and we'll leave blocks as it is, and we'll hit save. So now this is our whole scenario complete. All that's left to do is test the whole scenario to make sure it runs through completely. So if we go back to our first module, click on it, choose where to start. To ensure it starts with that email that we want it to, select the first email. Then we'll click our test email and hit save. Now we have selected the test email, we can click run once. It's gone from module 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the first thing we can check is, has that email moved again into that availability folder? For a little bit of context, I did move it out of that folder to retest it before we did this test again. So as you can see here, it has moved back into the folder, so the test has worked successfully. The final thing we can check is, were we alerted in Slack that all this was happening behind the scenes? So if I head to my Slack, into availability alerts, you can see here right now you have a new availability update. That is exactly what we wanted to know. And of course, if I had Slack on my phone, this would pop up as a notification instantly. So then I would be ready to get to work with coordinating this candidate with a client. So all we need to do is come down here and turn this automation on for it then to run at 15-minute intervals. But as I said, you could change this to run at whatever intervals you like. So there we have it, a candidate availability alert system that ensures you'll never miss a candidate's availability that lands in your emails again, or waste another minute not acting on it because you have been notified instantly. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments. Otherwise, feel free to hit subscribe as I continue to explore the capabilities of AI automation.